Hey everybody, welcome back to Kevin Reviews. I just finished seeing, as of today, as I'm recording, I just seen The Curse of Llorona. I might be, I can't roll my L's very well, so Curse of La Llorona. So this is directed by Michael Chavez, who this is his first film that he directed, motion picture film specifically, written by Mickey Daughtry and Tobias Iconis. This is also produced by James Wan and Gary Doberman, who's done the other Conjuring films. And there's Dottie again. Sorry. And this stars Linda Cardellini, Raymond Cruz, Janie Lynn Kinchin, Roman Christo, and Marisol Ramirez, who plays La Llorona. Again, I am sorry if I can't roll my R's. So this is it's kind of interesting because this one is technically not. It's almost like it's not quite part of the Conjuring universe, though there are hints. And even when I got like the collection that goes from the first Conjuring to Annabelle Comes Home, I I missed, yeah, Annabelle Comes Home, the Curse of Llorona. Yeah, stop. I just in any case, it's never counted as part of the Conjuring universe. It's almost like Batman Arkham Origins, the game, isn't counted part of the Arkham trilogy, which is doesn't make sense. And because the film does hint at a couple, like one particular moment, because one character from Annabelle, from the movie Annabelle, comes back into this. So um, I fed her. She's gonna keep doing this. Um, so, but I remember the trailers looking interesting, and I think mainly because I was interested, in large part, to the story of Llorona, um, in on the YouTube channel Snarled, where they do scary stories. I will put a link in the video if you want to check it out. I think it's an old video, but I think it's really worth a watch if you are not familiar with the La Llorona story. And be be aware that I am probably going to reveal a little bit of some of the lore behind the story, the folk tale, of La Llorona. So, but I remember the trailer being interesting. I certainly was like, because this seems like there was another possibility of expanding the Conjuring universe, including La Llorona, this time. Though but when it came out, it kind of got a mixed bag reviews. Um, and I did not see this in theaters. I did see this later during the pandemic. So, and from my first viewing, I remember enjoying it. It's pretty good. But here's my second viewing and my review. So in the story, we have Anna, who is a CPS, Child Protective Services officer, who unfortunately has inadvertently uh, caused the deaths of another woman's children because of La Llorona. And now her son Chris and her girl Samantha are now marked by La Llorona, and so now she's trying to find a way to get rid of her so that she could save her kids. Now, like I said, if you are not familiar with the La Llorona story, I suggest either you go watch Snarled first or just click out and watch the movie. They do kind of give an idea of what it is of the story. But I think Snarled is a better choice overall. Um, so the story is for La Llorona. She in Mexico in 1973. She was very beautiful, young, and she married a wealthy ranchero. Um, but unfortunately, one day the guy she married. Oh, I forgot to mention that they also had two kids, two sons. Um, Unfortunately, the ranchero found another woman much younger than her, and out of pit of rage, she drowns her two kids. But after she did that, she felt so remorseful that she drowned herself in a river. And because of what she did, she's now um, cursed to wander the earth looking for her children, always weeping and crying, but never finding her children. And this often is used like a folk as a kind of a folk tale to tell children to behave, or La Llorona will get them. So that's basically the idea. And again, I know it's kind of spoiler territory, but I thought I at least need to explain the La Llorona story, because it's more direct than I would say the Annabelle story. In the Annabelle storyline or the Conjuring universe storyline. Um, and because this is a folk tale, it kind of makes more sense. Um, so yeah, just thought you know. But after my second viewing, I still find this enjoyable. It's definitely not up there with the other for the first two Conjuring films, nor Annabelle Creation, but it's not as bad as the first Annabelle and the Nun. So that's a good thing. It does have some good scares. It does have tension. It has good atmosphere to it. The acting's well done. I mean, it's not memorable, but it's well done regardless. The kids especially do a good job. Jane Lee Kinchin and Roman Christo. Um, the design for La Llorona herself is pretty menacing, though I will admit they probably used a little bit too much CGI um, on her, which I guess makes sense because she's supposed to be this, a spirit. But it almost you kind of wish there was more physical form. But I will say the scares, while are good, I wish that if you don't see the trailer, if you have not seen the trailer, do not see the trailer, because I think the scares are more effective if you go into this movie blind. And because I've seen the trailer, I've seen it a couple times before. I already kind of found out it kind of reveals too much, unfortunately. So some of the scares are not as says that was in the trailer is not as strong in here. And even when they try doing some new scares in this one, it's not as impactful, I don't think. Um, so the one thing I really like was Raymond Cruz's character named Raphael. I think he was quite a lot of fun. He kind of plays this priest who left the church, and he's been more of a shaman, and he has more unorthodox methods, and that's kind of interesting because you want to know what are his ways of dealing with something like La Llorona or any kind of spirit, demon, whatever. Um, and you kind of see him doing it. You got the kids and Anna asking questions about how is he doing it? What are you doing it? And there's some humor in it. And he has some pretty good, like, um, kind of awkward humor that's actually kind of funny. Um, So he's enjoyable. He mostly shows up in the last third of the movie, but he's still a very memorable character. I will give him that. Um, Let me see. Is there anything else? But yeah, I think what doesn't work, like I said, the scares don't work. It does feel like it does feel like you're another horror movie overall that doesn't really push much of the envelope or and granted there are moments that don't there's some inconsistent storytelling. Like even when we actually do see La Llorona before she becomes a spirit that she drowns her kids, and this is like a river that's like, that's not very high. I mean, granted, she drowned them, but then they said she drowned herself in that same river, which does not make any sense because I think even if you were to drown yourself in that shallow of a river, it's really hard because at some point your brain or mind has to like say, get some air, and wake up and try, and do that. So I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. If it was a raging kind of river, perhaps that would make more sense. But otherwise, not here. Um, some of the characters don't are not very smart. Well, I think at least one is not very smart. Like one of the kids, despite La Llorona, like this is the last third, La Llorona chasing after Sam, and I'm going to point out Sam. She does this one really stupid thing that you know it's like, why are you doing this? Because she's after you. You've seen her. She's chasing you. It doesn't make sense that just to add that because we got to have eventual jump scares, and there are plenty of jump scares. So that's also kind of an unfortunate thing, but it still at least keeps a decent tension overall. So, um, but yeah, I don't have. I think that's about it. That was all I can say about the Curse of La Llorona. Um, yeah, it's kind of in the middle, and middle is not so bad. It's kind of like put it on, you waste your time. It's not good, it's not great, but you enjoy it nonetheless. And I think I just really love it because, well, not love it, but I think I do enjoy this because I am familiar with the La Llorona story thanks to Snarled, the YouTube channel. Um, that uh, this is this really kind of interests me more. But sadly, there's no sequel or anything, and this does still kind of gets pushed to the sideline as not counting as part of the Conjuring universe, which is a bit unfair in my opinion. So, but overall, I would give The Curse of La Llorona 3 stars. I would recommend this, especially if you're a Conjuring fan. This is produced by James Wan and Gary Doberman, so I mean, there's that. Um, could have used a bit more punch, but I think what we got was is a satisfying watch overall. So, um, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Curse of La Llorona? Leave it in the comments below. Leave it in, like, dislike, whatever you know, whatever you like to do. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Oh yeah, and subscribe to my channel if you like what you're seeing. Um, anyway, I'll see you guys in the next review.